everybody. My name is Javier Gonzalez. I'm the mayor of the city of Santa Fe. It's great to be here for a special edition of City Hall Live, coming to you live from the rooftop of the Drury Hotel in downtown Santa Fe. For many of us who grew up and had parents that grew up in this area, this actually was a place where many people were born in our community, and so it's nice to see that the Drury Corporation has brought the building back to life in a lot of fun ways. And tonight we've got a beautiful fall day, and we're going to talk about some awesome women who lead businesses in Santa Fe and really recognize and talk about why it is that Santa Fe is a leader in women-owned businesses across the country. But the truth is, when you look at what's happening in women-owned businesses throughout the United States, the data is powerful. More than 9 million companies are owned by women in the United States. These firms generate $1.4 trillion in sales, and they employ nearly 7.9 million people. So when you talk about moving an economy forward and growing jobs, women-owned businesses clearly are key in making sure that that's a reality. Here in Santa Fe, we were recognized by NerdWallet as being named one of the best places for women-owned businesses in the country. It was a study that was commissioned by the American Express Corporation. So it's a legitimate study by a company that wanted to really figure out what was going on in Santa Fe. They found that we have the highest concentration of women-owned businesses. At 33% of our businesses are owned by women. Means certainly one in every 3 businesses in Santa Fe is owned by a woman. And I happen to live in a family, or be part of a family, where my mother is the CEO and 100% owner of our family business, and has been for many, many years. So I've seen certainly the benefit and certainly the steadfast leadership and the discipline that she has brought in making sure that our company is able to either make payroll or make sure that we build a sustainable business model. But with me today, we've selected some superstars in our community, people who have actually invested in Santa Fe, who've created jobs, who've allowed Santa Fe to be recognized globally as a not only a place of art and culture, but a place of high talented people and wonderful businesses. And I want to introduce them right now and say a little bit about them, and then we're going to go ahead and ask them some questions and really learn from them what it is about Santa Fe, certainly that gave them a reason to invest here, some of the things that we do well, things that we don't do so well, that we need to learn from so that we can expand the number of women-owned businesses in Santa Fe and truly be able to grow our economy that is accessible and available to everybody. With us, we have Susan Curtis, who is the founder and owner of the Santa Fe School of Cooking, a business supporting local cuisine for over 25 years. And one of my favorite things to do, although I don't get to do it a whole bunch of times, is to be out at the Santa Fe School of Cooking and to be able to participate in just a fun evening with friends, learning how to cook. And what I love about the school is I always leave with my fingers intact, and wonderful cuisine out of it. So it's a great place. Also with us is Nicole Curtis Ammerman. She joined her mom at the school in 1993. Together they've grown the Santa Fe School of Cooking into one of New Mexico's iconic culinary destinations. With us also is Lyra Barron, owner of Fruit of the Earth Organics. She spent most of her life as a performing musician and composer, as well as a digital artist, and now has moved into the healing arts, working with medical cannabis and other healing plants. Kimberly Corbett is with us tonight. She's a serial entrepreneur and CEO of Express. She lives by 2 powerful quotes that best describe her business and philosophy. Woody Allen said, "Success is 80% showing up." And of course, Eckhart Tolle, is that the right way? Stated that, "Accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it." That's cool. I can't wait to hear more a little bit about why you chose that. Leah Chavez is with us. She returned to Santa Fe like so many Santa Feans who left to be educated or to get work experience and then come home. She came back to her hometown to raise her family and founded Peaceful Pet Sitters Leah was awarded the Santa Fe and State of New Mexico's Young Professional of the Year for 2015 by the New Mexico Professional Businesswomen. Peaceful Pet Sitters is also an alumnus business of Santa Fe's 2014 Velocity Project. Jane Hill is the founder of Cyber Mesa Telecom, one of New Mexico's oldest and most respected internet service providers, which over the last 25 years has evolved into a full-service telecommunications company serving communities across the state, and of course a city partner in making sure that we expand access to internet service providers so that we can both increase the amount of speed in our city and also decrease the costs for Santa Fe's families. Kate Kennedy is the co-founder of Skylight, downtown's multifaceted food and entertainment venue. Kate is the primary instigator of this panel because she believes Santa Fe's women entrepreneurs are the vanguard of reorienting business relationships with their customers, employees, and community. And then finally, Andrea Romero, who is the co-founder of the high-profile startup called Tall Foods, which will produce ostrich meat, the eco-friendly alternative to beef. Andrea hopes to bring her first product to market in 2016. So why diversity? Different businesses, but obviously in areas that are critical not only to Santa Fe's economy, but clearly businesses that can cater and provide services outside of our community as well. One of the things that I obviously want to start with is kind of the unique qualities of a woman-owned business. I think, certainly growing up, we could always count on my mom to make tough decisions when we couldn't make those decisions, to be more fiscally disciplined when we were wanting to raid the checkbook a little bit more. And I kind of wonder, is that just her, or is that those are general qualities that happen in women-owned businesses? So for anyone, what are some of the unique qualities of women-owned businesses?
So unfortunately, we're not all exactly like your mom. Women own businesses because they love owning and starting businesses. And we all have very different businesses because we're interested in different things. And we all, I'm quite certain, run them quite differently. I'm a pretty significant risk taker, and I enjoy taking risk. I reinvest most of my profit into other businesses. And it's fun for me, and it's exhilarating, and I want to see how I can change things and make things new and different. And from what you were describing of your mom, that maybe wasn't her MO.
Right.
And I think it's amazing that Santa Fe has 33% of our businesses owned by women, but I think more than 50% of the people in Santa Fe are women. So that's still kind of low. And
opportunity for growth is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't think there are any qualities other than ovaries that we all have in common.
So for the number of women that are out there who are wondering or believe, like many entrepreneurs, that the hurdles are too great or that it's too tough to explore your passion, what is some of the advice that you can give that sets them apart just from anybody else in terms of how to go and pursue creating a business in Santa Fe?
Do you want to start since you created? No? Okay. I just wanted to say, when I looked at the things we were going to be talking about, it was hard to generalize woman versus man because I don't know how a man runs a business. I can only speak about how we run our business. But I can say that when we have meetings, and it's a family business where my dad is involved and my sister's involved, but my dad will sit down in a meeting that Mom and I are having with somebody else, and he is just like, do you guys ever stop talking? Because, we talk. That's what we do. We develop relationships with our vendors, with our customers, and that's what makes it personal. That's what works for us. Is it's not just like, okay, this is what ABC. This is what we're going to talk about. But it's like, oh, hey, I love that dress. Where'd you get that? And then you start talking about your family. And for us, that's kind of what works. And that's because we have really great friendships with not only vendors and farmers, but customers too. And that's, I think business is about relationships. And so that's really an important part of of our business, and I'm guessing probably some of yours too, if anybody else wants to.
Absolutely, that was a big part of why we originally discussed doing this panel, is that women certainly operate their businesses in a more family environment. We do sort of absorb our employees and our customers and our venues as more family members, and we bicker like family, and we agree, and we converse as family, but we also make hard decisions like families need to, and the ability to have support and respect on a family level, I think, is very important to small businesses, especially small businesses in a small town. And we're all relatively small business owners. We are in a small town where there is sort of a limited customer pool within the city limits, but our ability to export our product or our experiences to our tourists and to our incoming entrepreneurs and young professionals is something I think is very important to all of us.
And just to kind of add to that, I think what we know internationally with microfinance and other areas, and here in Santa Fe specifically, is that women are a great investment, and women-owned businesses are a great investment. And I think those that have had the empowered sort of ideas that they want to take forth, being a startup owner with Toll Foods, we've felt keep going, and been more encouraged based on the fact that we know the data, we know the women that have continued to push the envelope and give us that stage to go beyond 50%. But I think what we need to do is just keep encouraging one another and know that we continue to show and prove that we're doing a great job as business owners.
When you look back at the time that you started your businesses, prior to the business actually starting, what was that critical step that each of you took that positioned you to actually get a business started? So if someone's out there trying to think of what's step one, looking back, and I'm sure it was a variety. Some of it might be access to capital. Some of it might be, finding you were in the right place at the right time. But for each of you, and I'd like to ask all of you to answer, what was that first step where you started to feel like, I'm going to be a business owner?
Okay, I'll answer that because I have a strong opinion about that, the decision to start a business and to be successful. Success to me was at least trying. Failure was not to try. And I think that's the first step, to take that and realize that if you sit back and say, no, it's too risky, too scary, that's real failure.
So at least try. Andrea, let's start over this one. We'll work our way that. What was that? What's the first step that you took that you believe that?
I was really interested in validating my own idea through the customer and understanding that the customer was right and my product needed to be based on their interest, and that I'm providing a service to them that they will pay money for, and is that something that they will exchange for? So it was basically going out and asking everyone I possibly could, would you buy this? And validating it that way, because I needed to know before investing my time and my money and my family and everything else that was what needed to be secured. So
we'll move down to. Well, you joined the
I
business,
was just going to say.
When did you decide to join the business?
Well, I was going to say
Or
part
why?
of how the Santa Fe School of Cooking continues to grow is that we keep saying yes. So, we'd been open 4 years when I came on, and somebody asked her first, do you have a mail order business? And she says, yes. And then she turns around and she's like, okay, get a mail order catalog going, blah, blah, blah. And then
to myself, I said, I've got to get a mail order.
yeah. And then like a corporate client would call and say, do you corporate team building events? And I say, yes, we do. And so that's kind of how we keep growing and trying new things. And of course, some of them haven't worked, but many, many of them have, by just saying yes and making it happen. And so that's how we've continued to grow our business.
I think to be an entrepreneur, you definitely have to have a certain level of risk tolerance. And I have to say, everybody in my family does not have the same level of risk tolerance as I do. I tend to make quick decisions and go with them. And then once I'm in, I figure out how to move forward from there. Quickly after I started Peaceful Pet Sitters, I found out I was expecting my first daughter. And so childcare became an issue. You know, how do I run this business and grow this business and also care for this new child? And so my husband, he elevated his risk tolerance, and actually when our business was exploding, he decided to quit his safe, secure, full-time banking job with benefits and go for it with me. And so I think you have to have a good support system behind you that believes in what you're doing. And I really saw a need in this town and decided we're going to be the ones to fill it, and we're going to do it better than everybody else.
So when you recognized you were willing to take on more risk, was maybe that first step of beginning to explore
Absolutely.
being a businesswoman?
Absolutely.
Great.
We're getting a little too high with the mics. Keep them down. Remember, and Mayor, I'll give you a 10-minute warning when we get there.
Okay, great.
Okay. Well, I've been in business for myself all my life, and currently in the medical cannabis business and also other natural healing remedies. But I started out in business probably because I was an artist and I was too filled with creativity to do anything else but follow my own intuition and my own inspiration. So that it was not even a choice. And I've had probably a dozen businesses involved in the arts, from music to film to web design to digital art. And
So you've been a serial entrepreneur your
I've
whole
been a
life.
serial
Got it.
entrepreneur, yes, exactly.
How about you, Jane? What was that moment that you said I'm going to be a business owner?
Well, that started a long time ago in Greece, and I was married to a Greek, and I was working for Citibank, and we decided that we were going to branch out, and we opened a small travel agency, and later a small hotel in Athens, and then things got a little risky in Greece because my son needed to. I didn't want to have to be stuck in Greece because at the time women couldn't leave and take their children with them without the father's permission. So I came to Santa Fe. I was a freelance photographer. Everything was going wonderfully well, but Otis and I got into computers, and we got to know some other people in computers, and we invested in a small computer store in Santa Fe with a number of other people. And then after a year and a half, the young man that was running it, he seemed to be throwing the bills unopened in a cardboard box under a table in the back room. And so I stepped in. So I think that's more like Kimberly's quote.
So
Whatever
some of it
happens,
was about being awareness of opportunity that may come up that you're not seeking out.
exactly
as in
right.
that point,
It
right.
just, I wanted to save my $5,000. So
Kate, how about you? When you obviously have accepted that risk is part of starting a business, but what made you ultimately decide to be an entrepreneur versus being in a traditional business?
For me, my business wasn't even my idea. I'm blessed to be part of a group of owners, and my jump was it was the last push we needed to get the doors open. We were on a tight frame, trying to open before Spanish Market. We had zero money. We were just trying to get the doors open, and I came in with that last final push to get our doors open. And it came down to basic supplies and getting our first payroll checks cut. And I saw a need in the community as well for the business that we were hoping to open. And it's honestly been the most rewarding decision I've ever made. Granted, the scariest decision I've ever made, but I haven't ever looked back.
I'm incredibly antsy, and I like doing stuff, and I like changing things, and I like changing myself, and I like evolving and growing. And it got to the point that professionally, the only way I could carry on evolving and growing would be to move to New York or San Francisco or start my own business. And I love living here. I'm so happy and so content here. And in order to be completely content, I had to start my own gig. And so now I'm on the second one, which I have to travel to New York and San Francisco for. But it's all working out beautifully.
So you're saying we need direct flights from Santa Fe?
Please,
Okay.
please. Yes.
Working on it. I think for a lot of us, we watch these TV shows like Shark Tank or other shows that just show businesses as being successful without really looking at challenges that people have to overcome. Through the course of your businesses, being here in Santa Fe, what's been the greatest challenge for you? You all have just endured a tough recession. The city was hit very hard. Everyone was hit hard, but yet you continue to keep your capital at risk, believe in this community. What has been those challenges where you've kind of gone home at night and thought, oh my gosh, how do we get over this, and how did you get over it?
I would say our biggest challenge is keeping up with the demand and actually hiring.
Nice problem to have.
But it's still a problem. And so we have grown our business with no funding. We are now through the startup phase, and we are now a 6-figure company. We just hit that mark last week, so thank you very much. But we've grown with no financing. We don't have perfect credit. We don't have a lot of collateral to put up for it. And so I would say that by far the biggest challenge has been trying to keep up with the demand and not let the business control our growth, but to control the growth of our business.
So you maintain quality.
Absolutely.
Over the growth.
Yeah, because in a small town like this, your reputation far exceeds you. And so if you let your business grow faster than you can keep up with, it's going to destroy your reputation, and then you won't have a business anymore.
So Kate, you've been a serial entrepreneur. If someone's getting ready or they've started a business, what's some advice that you can give them on how to overcome hurdles? Any of you, right?
You said
Well, Kate, any of you can take that. If you're ready to, just someone who's sitting out there and getting a business started, and they, when you start a business, you have a vision, you believe in the end goal. But what are some of those challenges that they have to be prepared for, and how do you prepare yourself to get through it so you don't find yourself out of business?
So I say this a lot, you have to be incredibly obsessed with numbers and with money. You have to be obsessed with money, and you have to run your numbers non-stop all the time. Before I started my first business, I would sit and my husband and my daughters would probably be playing games on the couch, and I would be sat in my chair with the computer in front of me, messing with a pro forma for hours, like every single night, while my husband's reading stories to my kids. I just did the money. And then you triple the amount of money you think you need, and the amount of time it's going to take for it to work, and you might get there. And you have to be very realistic about it. You can't pretend like that's going to work. It's going to work. It's not. You have to really be prepared for it to never work. And that's why most businesses fail in the first year or two, is because they don't have a long enough runway. They didn't think they would need so much money. They didn't think it would take so long to get customers. It takes forever. It doesn't matter how amazing your business is. It's going to take a long time.
I think many times people believe because they start a business and they put CEO or president on the card, they can delegate responsibilities. But what you're basically saying is you have to own all the detail every day, all the time, if your business is going to be successful.
If it's your business, it's your problem.
I think one of the biggest challenges is staffing. And I'm going to say right off the bat, we're so lucky to have amazing, amazing staff. But one of the things that I've learned over the time that we've been doing this is hire the right people and wait if you can't find them. Just keep on sweeping that floor, keep on doing everything you need to do to keep it going. But don't hire the wrong people. It's a waste of your time and your money. Wait for the right people, and then you'll have them stay with you, and it sure does make your life much, much easier when you have the right people in place.
I'd like to ask a question of Andrea and Kate. Having, you grew up here, you went through the school systems, you went out and you got really well educated, but then you decided to come home and start a business. What was it about Santa Fe that, given all the opportunities around this country for you to take your business and get things started, why Santa Fe?
It's pretty easy. We are looking over the mountains right now. My family of bajillion people all live here. it's easy to make that decision when you know what you're coming back to, which is just already the foundational element. I mean, I'm 17th generation New Mexican, so it's pretty easy to know where we're coming from, and that it's a really important place to that history. Leaving, though, is really easy as well. There's a lot of other things that you could be doing and why, but like Kimberly, if you're going to do it in Santa Fe, then you need to start it yourself. And Santa Fe is a DIY city for so many things, whether you're entertainment or, the quality of the things that you want to experience in your life. DIY. It's a do-it-yourself city.
Got it. Now I do.
It's a do-it-yourself city where
do-it-yourself mayor.
if you want it, you have to make it happen. And I think that because we're a small town, and why people feel so empowered, and why we have continued to, shatter records across the country, is that people understand that and they're committed to that. And I came back to be part of that history and part of that, and see what we can do to help improve our space. It's great.
Kate, what about you?
Yeah.
Why did you choose to stay?
For me, I had always wanted to have an opportunity to give back to the community that I grew up in. And I found that owning a business and employing people and having an economic impact on my community was the most efficient way that I could do that, as well as finding something that was rewarding to me. For me, our business is very much, we're growing through community engagement, and I think that that's true of a lot of us. Economic growth can only be done with all of us together. And for my business, we are probably we're in a higher risk, probably in the nightlife scene. We have a lot more hurdles than I think a lot of other businesses do. We do have a larger staff. We do jump through a lot more hoops, but it really takes the patience. It takes hiring the right people. It takes investing in your people. And for me, ownership is not just a name on a card. I mean, we're all plunging toilets and bussing tables, and it's being there every day. It's investing in your people. It's investing in yourself. But we have to remember to invest in our customers and our community that pays our bills in February when the tourists aren't here.
I will also say, as a native Santa Fean, at 18 years old, I could not wait to get out of Santa Fe. But the reason I came back is my husband and I were talking about starting a family. Where do we want to raise our children? And it was important to be close to our family. And we didn't want to have long distance relationships with grandparents and aunts. And since we have come back to Santa Fe, we are just passionate about growing our community. And I have to say, Kate, what you're doing with Skylight is phenomenal, because it's giving the 20-somethings and the young 30s a little bit more of an incentive, something to do on, Saturday night. But we feel it's important to create jobs in the community that we were raised in. And there's nothing like starting a business in your hometown where you're already plugged into the culture and you have the contacts and you can draw upon your parents' contacts. So it's been great.
I'd like to say
Please.
that the reason that I chose Santa Fe, and I've been here for 35 years, is because it's such a conscious community, and that's what makes it feel like home for me. It's been health conscious, environmentally conscious, and those are the things that are important to me. And it's allowed me to take and have a business that flourishes with those goals. We have the only sustainable cannabis production in New Mexico. We grow outdoors in the sunshine, organically, and everything that we do is sustainable. We use rainwater catchment. We're trying to, to model the fact that that is possible in the industry that I'm currently in. And Santa Fe is a community that appreciates those values and will support those values, and that's why I'm here.
So I'd like to ask each of you what are the pros and cons of doing business in Santa Fe? What works for you? What works against you? We'll start with you.
Okay, well, I came here from Greece, so while a lot of people talk about Santa Fe as the land of mañana, relatively speaking, it's fabulous. And it all pretty well works for me. I mean, I just have to deal with what I have to deal with. Dealing with Santa Fe issues is very modest relative to dealing with telecom taxes that we have to collect and pass on and things like that.
But you deal in a very competitive environment made up of very big players.
That's
and,
right.
And you are thriving.
It's not always easy.
Right.
And we were pretty well hit by the recession, but one of the things that we've always done is try to be flexible. When we started off, we were a computer store, but the FCC had rules that made it hard for us to manufacture computers. So then we got into the internet business, and it was dial-up. And then this is a flaw to technology, I would say. It keeps marching forward, you know?
Well, and I think one of the points that you bring up is that having the ability to adapt with an ever-changing environment is something that clearly you did. You didn't close up shop just because people stopped buying computers, or it was more of a challenge.
That's right. And of course, when we got into the internet, nobody dreamed that it would be what it is today. But we were amazed at our own quick success, how many people wanted to be on the internet, even on a dial-up. And then we moved on, and DSL came, so we had to become a phone company. And so here we are. Now we're doing wireless. So it's very challenging, and we're excited about the city project with putting fiber in the ground. I think that will benefit a lot of citizens in Santa Fe.
It's going to be transformational for our community.
Yes.
Very excited about it. Who else? What have been the challenges or the pros and the cons of doing business in Santa Fe?
As a startup, the pro and the con is the same thing, which is being able to incubate in isolation and then also be in isolation in Santa Fe. The competitive sort of nature of what we're trying to accomplish and having that, sort of Silicon Valley feel that people desire to be able to continue pushing and being able to measure how am I doing against that thriving sort of competition is healthy in some ways, but also really great to be kind of on your own and being able to do the things that you want to do the way you want them to do without that pressure. So it's like a two-sided coin that you have to sort of figure out both at the same time. So, yeah.
Well, in my business, the difficult part has been the excessive licensing fees, because we pay the highest licensing fees in the nation at $90,000 a year to do our business, whereas in other states that are also involved, this is a medical product, other states that are involved are paying under $10,000 to be able to grow thousands of plants. We pay $90,000 to grow 450. So it makes it very difficult to bring the price of the product down and make it more affordable to a very vast low-income population here. And so I feel that there sometimes is a kind of a greed in state government and a lack of sensitivity to the lower income people that we're trying to serve, and keeping the licensing fees so high and the restrictions so stringent, so that it is just more difficult to serve all the people that we want to serve.
I think you bring up a good point, and for those of you that are in the regulatory environments, that probably is a critical it's a critical component to success. When you measure your risk, understanding who's regulating you, what hurdles are in place, because if you don't, you probably can get tripped up really quickly. Is that basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I also, in just getting ready for this talk tonight, actually was looking at what makes an entrepreneur-friendly environment. What are the cities that are considered the most entrepreneur-friendly? And they are those that have lower tax, more business-friendly tax and licensing requirements, and also a more relaxed regulatory and zoning requirements. And so Santa Fe has so many wonderful benefits, but it does have some challenges in that area, in that not only in our business, but in many other businesses, the licensing requirements are are very difficult for many. I know some artists who just want to get a simple business license in Santa Fe, and it's $600, so to open a shop. So some of those kinds of things could be relaxed, and I think there could be also more tax incentives for businesses that are sustainable. I mean, I think there needs to be more emphasis on sustainability, especially at this time, in the world. We need to be paying more attention to those issues, and I think there could be incentives and grants and other things that are awarded to people who are really taking and trying to embody those values and help the Santa Fe to become known for a green economy, which it is somewhat already.
One of the things that I said during the campaign and since I've become mayor is this need to grow young. We have an aging workforce. More than 50% of our workforce is over the age of 55. Only 39% of our workforce lives in the city. You're in a business that is highly dependent on our ability to grow young. Not that I don't like going out on Saturday nights on occasion, but it's just not every Saturday night. How do we do that? How does Santa Fe become attractive for people growing up and for others that are in other parts of the country who are looking where to start their career?
Yes, that's absolutely something that we struggle with. And actually, the average age at Skylight is 39, so that's pretty cool. But one of our largest problems is absolutely housing. We are almost completely full in our occupancy rate here in Santa Fe, and there's just nowhere for young professionals to live, entrepreneurs, startups. There's no appropriate affordable housing available to us, and that's incredibly difficult. That certainly impacts not only my customers and my employees, but also all of us. We need to make the city more accessible to our aging population, but also our younger population. The network capabilities are going to be awesome. We need to improve our network capabilities. The licensing and permitting, oh my goodness, and insurance problems. I mean, our insurance at Skylight doubled from last year. We pay almost $50,000 a year now just in insurance, one type of insurance a year. And I think also in terms of, we need to express our diversity. We need to honor our diversity, and we need to provide quality programming. We need to provide quality service. Santa Fe is an experienced town. We have a great product, but we do need to capture these beautiful moments and these beautiful experiences and encourage our young entrepreneurs to come and live here. There used to be this stigma, I think, at least when I went off to college, to come back. Like, it was almost like you failed if you came back to Santa Fe. And there is this beautiful thing that a lot of us are trying to create about it being a compliment to our city that we're choosing to come back. This is our hometown. We choose to live here. Yes, we sacrifice financially. We may sacrifice some opportunities, but it is our choice. This is our home. This is where our family is. And we want to grow up here. We want our kids to grow up here. We want our families to have us here. And I think that it is up to us to create the opportunities for them to do so.
So, final question of the night. It's kind of a mayor's privilege. If you were mayor for a day, what would you do? I know all of you push hard to stay away from politics, except for Kate. She's running to it. But if you were mayor for a day, what would you do to ensure the long-term success of your business? And we'll start this way and finish with Andrea.
I do want
You're going to let me know.
Okay.
Sure, right? Okay, good.
Well, let's see. If I were the mayor, I think I would work on personnel. And I would give everybody prep talks on how they're there to serve the citizens of Santa Fe, not delay things. They're supposed to facilitate the needs of the customers that come to them. And I think that's where my emphasis would be, working with the staff.
Creating a more friendly environment at City Hall.
Yeah, or if somebody needs a permit, going out of the staff should go out of their way to help make that possible, rather than say, well, you have to come back next week, or it could take a while, and because the staff is there to serve the citizens.
Well said. Okay. It's mayor for a day.
Okay, well, here
You
goes
get
my
very little pay,
environmental
but you get-
rap again. I'm really inspired by some of what some of the European communities are doing and looking at creating what they call circular economy. Right now we're operating more from a linear economy, which is basically you take from the
Can you
earth.
move your mic just a little bit down? That way
Okay.
we can make sure we get to hear you.
Take, make, use, and dispose. And it's been an environmental disaster, and we're taxing our resources and everything else. And what they're doing in European countries now, which I think is very inspiring, is the idea of a circular economy is finding ways to reuse those resources, to repurpose, to recycle, to not just accept the idea of a disposable economy.
So being more sustainable. For
more
sure.
more
Got it.
sustainable for sure.
Kate.
I would improve parking. I think that for a city that does, well, and really a state, but a city that does have a high DWI problem, I would open up a parking garage. I would open up parking meters for anybody to allow to park their cars overnight. They can get a little ticket from a bar or a restaurant or wherever they may be, and that they should be allowed to park their car until the next morning. And they can come and get it without a ticket, without anybody getting towed, and then provide public transportation to get those people home for a safe ride program.
Kate Noble, that's a great idea. I think that's something that we don't have to wait till they're mayor for a day to do. So let's work on that on Monday.
Other than direct flights, I'm going to give my time to Kate and Andrea.
So direct flights are important to grow the economy, right? I mean, that is, it attracts outside investment. So being able to focus. I will say, it helps you get out there, right?
Like isolation.
I will say there has been a lot of conversation about the loss of the LA Santa Fe flight, and we have done everything we possibly could to convince the carrier, including waiving gate fees, trying to incentivize financially to stay in. And it's just one of those airline industry issues, but we haven't given up. So we're continuing to look at reestablishing the LA Santa Fe flight. We are conducting studies in regional cities like Houston and Silicon Valley and others where we know that there are business travelers to come to Santa Fe to prove that if you establish a route, you're going to have those planes full. So hopefully those studies will yield in more direct routes, and we'll be able to make sure that you get out to. I'm not sure we'll get you to New York, but I think we can get you to
Houston's
the West.
good too. I go to Houston.
Okay, we'll go. Your turn, Leah. If you were mayor for a day, what would you do?
I would look to support nonprofits in town that support our entrepreneurs with funding. For example, West or Axion, help them figure out ways that they can lend money to businesses with good proven ideas that may not have the credit or the collateral to get it.
Very good. Nicole?
I would like to see Santa Fe be a town geared a little bit more for younger people. So not just people in their 20s, but families, young kids, bike paths, things that are so hip and popular for the younger population and families. And I think that starts with education and the schools and making that better so that young families want to be in Santa Fe. And then the other little piece is I think the outdoor element here is not promoted enough. This is a fantastic outdoor community, and we travel to go do outdoor things, and it'd be great to have more people coming to mountain bike, to hike. It's, I think, something that's not, and I do know that we're working on that this weekend, but yeah, I do think it's an important element that's somehow being missed in this town.
Some little known fact, but it's an important one. We have 300 miles of bike paths throughout the city. So the city has, we still want to invest more in bike paths. There is a bike network today that can move people around. The key is safety now, right?
Right.
Just because we have them doesn't
Biking
mean
on
that
the
they're all
road,
entirely
right.
safe. So we've got to work on that. We've pushed for green bike lanes and safety studies on high traffic intersections to make sure that bicyclists can be able to cross safely. But I think we're trending in that right direction. But great point. Yes?
Okay, well, I'd have to be more than one day, Mayor.
Okay.
But I would definitely work on the opportunities. Every bill that comes across my desk would be looking at opportunities for the future, opportunities for my 4 grandkids to want to come back here. And they can do that with, one of them, affordable housing, and then 2, you have to work every way for improved education. We have the opportunity in Santa Fe because we're such a diverse population. We're relatively small. We have so many creative people. We should be leading the nation, our schools, on how a diverse population with not just in ethnicity, but in finance, rich, poor, how we can put it and be a model of how cities work. And I would be doing that.
Wonderful.
I have about 500 things that I would want to do. And I'll just start with the three that just... So let's just start with the fact that we are a company town. Government is the primary thing that we do really well in Santa Fe. We have state government. We have all of it. We have the national laboratories. We're the corridor right in the middle of it. I think that increasing the ability to extract the talent from those young people that get recruited every single day by the federal government to go to Los Alamos and Sandia want to probably live in a great town like Santa Fe. And for those that are looking for great jobs and growing the town young, how do we get them to live here so that they stay here because it's a great place to live? So that's partially one thing, and technology transfer and all of that good stuff. Another thing is we have a great university here that we're sort of disconnected to just by geography to start. And I think that, some things like if it's, finals and midterms, why aren't our libraries open to students who need to study, or having late nights for kids that need to come and study? I mean, to create a college town for people and people love college towns. They love to visit them. We go to Boulder, we go to Denver, we go to all these places around us that have that great, vibrant, young personality, but doesn't have to be Santa Fe's identity. I think people can, tap into certain things. And I love the sustainability credits. I think Santa Fe is a place that is so accepting and inviting, that having that incentive to use less water, to use less electricity, to put solar panels on your roof, etc., I think is fantastic. And I think Santa Fe could be a real leader. So go green.
I love the fact that I would love for all of you to be mayor, for sure, because you guys got some awesome ideas. In closing, I want to say how incredibly humbled I am as mayor of this city that so many talented people choose to live and work in our community. And we have an example here tonight. You send a very strong message to people at home that it's okay to bet on Santa Fe. There are ways to be able to grow good businesses, but lessons that we learned tonight are all pathways to assure that you have long-term success, but you can do it here in Santa Fe. And I think what Kate indicated is very powerful. Growing up here, we all kind of believe that you had to leave the city to be able to go out and find success, and we want to change that. And all of you, by getting up every day and keeping your businesses open, show that and demonstrate that you can be successful in our town. So I want to say thank you. I actually heard everything all of you said what you would do for a day. I feel like we're making some progress. We got a long ways to go, but please continue to stay active in telling us what we can do to help improve our city. And certainly we're going to do everything we can to assure long-term success for your businesses. So having said all that, we're gonna close for this evening from the Drury Inn. I'm Javier Gonzalez. I have the honor of being mayor of Santa Fe.